joy, 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 ever new joy, 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 ever new joy, 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 ever new joy, joy. आनंद आनंद नित नवीन आनंद 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 आनंद नित नवीन आनंद 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 नित नवीन आनंद आनंद नित नवीन आनंद 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 नित नवीन आनंद 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 नित नवीन आनंद नित नवीन आनंद 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 नित आनंद 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 नित नवीन आनंद 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 नित नवीन आनंद आनंद joy 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 ever new joy 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 ever new joy 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 ever new joy 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 ever new 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 joy joy.
Let's sit in silence for a few minutes, feeling the joy, feeling the presence of divine wherever we are, and trying to commune with him in our inner temple, keeping our spine straight, uplifting our gaze, and just watching our breath. Let's practice meditation for about 2 to 3 minutes. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good evening, friends, once again. And let us take the conversation from this book for the evening. And today, the topic is this is the 64th conversation in the book, where Yogananda is saying that my master, he's addressing to Yukteswarji here, that my master once asked me, "Do you love people?" I answered, "No, I love only God." "That is not enough," he replied. Later, he asked me again, "Do you love people?" I smiled blissfully this time and said, "Don't ask me." He could see that my love now was too broad to be spoken about. This time, therefore, he only smiled. Now, this is a very beautiful conversation, friends, which happened between Yogananda and his guru, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, as we remember from the autobiography of a yogi. And the subject for this evening is that is it really possible to love everyone? Because if you see when it comes to people around us, people are doing all kinds of things, and sometimes they are behaving towards us in nice ways and sometimes in not so nice ways, and sometimes even very in a very eccentric way, or sometimes in a very callous way, or sometimes they just hurl some deprecating remark or sometimes very insulting. So all kinds of diverse ways. This is a mixture. When we deal with people, we have all kinds of experiences. So as a devotee now here, as Yukteswarji being a guru and his disciple Yogananda, with those who are playing this role of universal guru and disciple, he's asking, as sometimes this question arises in the mind of a disciple also, that yes, I love God, is it not enough? And Guru said that yes, this is not enough, because we do have to love people. And that is to say that our love has to, expand to that degree where we can love everyone without any separation. So, but then the question arises that how is it possible when we see so many diverse ways in which people behave towards us? Is it really possible to love them? Because in other at other place Yogananda did mention that human love is always a conditional love, because whether it is a romantic love, or whether it is a love between two friends, or whether it is a love even between parents and children, it is always, he said, that somehow or the other it is dependent on certain conditions, and or you can say some expectations. And often when those expectations are not met, then it is not, sometimes that love can instantly change into its opposite. Sometimes it can even turn into hatred. And this is exactly how Yogananda said that human love will always be many steps short of divine love. Because whatever love we are talking, whether it is among the friends or relatives, is actually nothing but a pale shadow of divine love. And all the saints have said this one thing, that there is no other love, there is only one universal love, and that is divine love. So now, from my experience, I would like to share that how is it possible to share this divine love with everyone? First of all, Yogananda said that what we do not have, we cannot give, which means that if we have to share divine love, first we have to feel that divine love in ourselves. So the first thing I think which can help us to have that divine honey, as we can say, just like a bee collects the honey, this can be collected only by doing yoga practices. And when we say yoga practices, I'm talking about meditation as the highest practice to get in touch with the source, because that is the flower. You can say God is the universal flower, and we being the bees have to collect that honey from him. That's the only source. So if you see all the yoga practices, broadly speaking, they include some breath practices. Let us say if we are watching our breath, it is very important to see very sensitively that how my breath is flowing. What is that power? that each breath is coming into me, breath after breath after breath. When you just observe this happening, you tend to see that this is happening because there is a universal power which is sustaining our breath, which is sustaining our body, and certainly it is not created by us. And slowly there comes an element of this awe that yes, there is something behind me, something much greater than per se my own power, which I feel is my power, which is sustaining my body, which is sustaining my existence. And with this actually brings up a lot of reverence in our heart for that greater reality. And slowly, as we progress in our yoga practices, then we see that there comes a point when our breath starts calming down. As in yoga, we say that breath is nothing but a reflection of our mind. So, as our breath is calming down, our mind is also calming down. And with that, there comes the next stage when we are able to hear the cosmic sound or the vibration of Om, as Master said, that this is the divine mother aspect of the creation. And sometimes in Christianity, we talk in terms of Holy Ghost. So the next step for a devotee is to commune with these Om vibration or the Holy Ghost. And the more we listen sensitively to this vibration, and not only listen, but try to become one with it, because we feel that this sacred vibration is buzzing in each cell of our body, then slowly we find that the sacred vibration starts bringing subtle changes in our cells. So this change will come not only in our bodies, but also in our mind, also in our heart, and our perception changes. And then comes the point, when you feel that, that is why, many times those who are regular meditators, or even sometimes when you practice meditation for the first time, you do feel that you're suddenly you touch that reservoir of peace within yourself, or you touch that reservoir of love or joy within yourself. And so that is how God is helping us to realize that this is how I'm existing in you, and as peace, as love, as joy. And that is the first contact. That is why meditation is the only way by which we can understand who we are in reality, what is our source and what is our connection. But at times, initially it may just this feeling of this feeling that yes, God is there, and you get to feel his perception, stays very temporary. Sometimes it goes, and sometimes immediately after the meditation it stays with you for a while. But if we are not careful, then it just slips down, and slowly we again get into our mundane activities, and we again get restless until we again come and meditate. So you see, this whole thing comes coming and going, as Yogananda said jokingly, that God loves to play hide and seek with his devotees. But slowly, a devotee understands that I have to apply my will to hold on to these after effects of meditation, which is very important, because as a disciple, as a devotee, whatever we feel after the meditation and during the meditation, that universal love or peace, we have to be very careful that we hold on to it and we protect it, and then undertake all the actions from that center of peace. So this step, if you feel, as I shared with you, 1, 2, and 3, starting from the breath, communing with Om, and then holding on to the peace and joy and love, and then doing all the actions from there, then slowly you understand that because feeling, as Swami Kriyananda often said, that live more in your heart. Because when you live in your heart, because he said that thoughts always follow the feeling, and it is not very productive to actually battle with your thoughts, because thoughts can go in so many different directions. But the moment you come to that peaceful state of your heart, you find that somehow very magically all these thoughts, they just come to stand still. But this will not happen if we are not careful, and if we are not all the time attentive to live more from our heart center, to live more in our feeling. Because, and always keeping in mind that, yes, this is who I am, this is what is my reality, this is my feeling, and then doing all the actions from there. And then always, as Swamiji also said, that make peace your bottom line. Because often it will happen that people will do something, sometimes very close people will do something. Let's say you go to office and your boss gives you a very bad remark, or sometimes your loved ones also do not treat you in a loving way. And then suddenly, as a reaction, your heart starts becoming restless, and you start feeling that there is a lot of disturbance. In that moment, I think what has helped me is to, just take a moment's break, go within and feel that what is more important for me. Is this feeling of peace, which I can, if I allow, if I'm not careful, I can lose this moment because of how the people are behaving towards me? Or if I keep my peace intact, will I be more joyful? This kind of weighing, this kind of watching is, as a yogi, one has to do all the time. What is more worthwhile? And as Swami Kananda said, that I made a point that I will make peace my bottom line. So we have to see that what is our bottom line and what is worthwhile. Because you will soon understand that it is not worthwhile to allow this peace to go away. Because having these peaceful vibrations, I think, is the greatest armor which will protect us from any negative vibrations. And the third thing which I have found is also helpful, has helped me in many respects, is that sometimes it is really challenging. You will find some people, those who are really will try to disturb you in so many ways, and it is difficult sometimes to even stand them. And you feel that, oh, nothing is working, so what should I do? Or maybe there are situations where you don't want to see their faces. But I found that one thing helps in those cases. It is prayer. When you pray to God, I sometimes pray to God that, or my guru, that, Guruji, it is your teaching which is saying that, yes, I have to see God in everyone. But somehow it is a difficult case, and I'm not able to see God in a particular person, let us say. So please help me to see God in him or her. And you will be amazed that God does come and help us in so many different ways. Sometimes he just changes a little thought perception in your mind, and he helps you to see some good quality in the person, or something very charming about the person, and your whole mindset changes. Often it does not happen because we do not give him a chance. As Swami said, that we somehow start hiding from God, and, oh, what will the guru think about me? Or what will, the God will think about me? You see, God, as Yogananda said, that God never watches our faults. He only minds our indifference. So it is all right to say that, dear Gurudev, I'm finding it challenging. Please help me. And help does come. This is my experience. And so these are the few things which I felt have helped me. There are certain other things also which I want to share. Sometimes people ask us that, why is it possible to even love a criminal, or let us say somebody who is a proclaimed offender? Because you see, when you say love everyone, then yes, love everyone means love everyone. And there are many examples, if you see, in our history, of people, saint like Buddha going to Angulimal, and he got transformed. And so many examples happened in even Yogananda's life too. When a person came, actually, it was a hired killer, somebody sent him to kill Yogananda. And in the subway, when Yogananda knew that this guy was chasing him, and he he just looked into him in his eyes with such love that this guy, this whosoever this gentleman was who came to kill him, he just dropped his gun and he said, "Sir, what have you done to me? I just cannot go back now to my old ways of living." And so you see, and he just ran away after dropping his gun. So you see that power in those saints of love, and it was all divine love, it was all God's love which was able to transform those people. But then the question is that maybe we are not at that stage, and certainly I do not find myself in that at that stage, that yes, we, through us, those changes can happen. But one thing which I've seen helps us is that when we emanate from our heart those vibrations of love and those vibrations of kindness, let's say, which are universally going everywhere to everyone, then it may not be apparent to you what changes it is bringing around you in your environment, but certainly it is very healing for yourself. It is very relaxing. It is very blissful, in fact, to feel that way. And just, feeling that, yes, feeling of joy, as you were chanting, joy, 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 ever new joy. So even if you are chanting inwardly and spreading these vibrations of kindness, this it just it will certainly affect people, but then it, first of all, it affects the greatest beneficiary is the person who is emanating those vibrations, those who is channeling, because it is not his vibration, it is the God's vibration. God is love, and he's channeling his vibration through him, which is very magical. In fact, I found it is very blissful. And sometimes, as Yogananda said, that it is all right to correct people, because if, let us say, you are in a position to correct people, if you are a boss, you are a team leader, you have, your job is to correct and help the team. If you are a parent, let us say, your job, your responsibility is to correct your children. Similarly, if you are, let us say, you are a soldier and you are defending your country from the enemies, and sometimes for a soldier it is necessary to even kill the enemy. But then there can be, this correction can be done either with a calm heart or with a restless heart, or with killing can be done even just as a part of duty with a calm heart, or it can be done with the hatred or with a lot of anger in the heart. So one has to see that as a devotee, my goal is bliss. So what gives me joy? So even if your job is to defend your country, defend, do it. Your job is to, if some of the, but then don't get into that war frenzy, as sometimes Swamiji said, that don't get into that fear frenzy or war frenzy or anger or hatred towards any of your neighbors or other people of other country, let us say. Because in the final reality, we must understand that what is a job of a yogi. A yogi has come to a point where Krishna is also saying the same thing, that he sees with the same eyes a friend and a foe. For him, it is not difference. There is no difference between a clod of mud or a clod of gold, because he sees that everything ultimately is coming from, is a projection of God's light, and everything is happening on the screen of duality as a light and shadow, as a play of light and shadow. That is why, sometimes when we hate our enemy, then Yogananda said that that hatred can create a bond, and that will give you, that will pull you into a new incarnation, because then you will have to battle it out again, uh, till you understand that, even the enemy was performing a role, and our job is just to stay and protect our heart and stay, keep it pure, keep it, keep it calm, and don't get entangled into all these vibrations. And that is why, if you see, a yogi attains the state of triguna rahitam. That is how the saints are, because duality will always pull us down. This likes and dislikes will always pull us down into this game of drama, in the game of reincarnation. And our job is to actually free ourselves from this whole game of incarnation. So, dear friends, I will not take much of your time. I will say that if even the smallest little prayer, I think, which can help us, which I find very helpful, is that I always pray. Sometimes I always pray like this, that God, you have taught us to see God in everywhere. So please help me to see God in everything, in everyone, everywhere. Because that is how, as Yogananda said, this was his favorite statement from Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna was saying, that one who sees me everywhere, he's never out of sight for me, and neither am I out of sight for him. So happy Holi to you, dear friends, as it is coming next week now. And I would say that just in the on the day of Holi, as we spread colors and as we bring colors to the joy, a lot of colors come to your life, and also colors of joy. These in the form of vibrations. Let us feel that we are spreading these colors of joy like a fountain from our heart, and which is touching everybody's heart on this blessed day of Holi. Thank you. Joy to you.